Hello, I'm Howard Josepher, and I'm in recovery from heroin addiction. I grew up in Bronx, New York. It was a middle-class environment. My parents are both immigrants who came to the United States because they believed that the streets were paved with gold and it was the land of opportunity. And most of the people I grew up with came from similar backgrounds. And while we played a lot of sports, and we got a little older, dated girls and normal stuff like that, the high value in our community was education and getting an education. That was paramount. And so, like most of my friends, after high school, I went to college, and I kind of struggled in college, and then dropped out for a while, went into the Army, and all of this this part of my life had absolutely no drug use. I'm sure I drank just like my friends did, but there was no hint of a problem until I graduated college and started to party, which I thought was great fun. I was having a good time. I moved from the Bronx into Manhattan. I thought that was real cool. At that time, being part of the jazz scene at Birdland and the Latin dance hall scene at the Palladium, we called ourselves Mambo Nicks in those days. But there came a point after maybe a year or two of partying where I know I felt like I had a realization that people were not as happy as they seemed. We're partying, but at some point I thought I saw that people were wearing masks. And I didn't know what to do with that insight, but not too long afterwards, someone in my crowd had some heroin, and I had never done it up until that point. Maybe this is after college. I had smoked some pot. I was doing hallucinogens like mescaline and LSD. And this is in the very many years ago, in the early days of even LSD and mescaline. So someone had some heroin, and a buddy of mine said, "Hey, let's try it one time, what the hell?" And I said, "Solid, I'll do it one time." And I fell in love with it right away, no doubt about it. First time. I don't know if you would say I was hooked, but I fell in love with it. It was an unusual experience for me. It took me into a place, a blissful place, a really contented place, and the kind of, I had always guessed growing up, experienced some kind of like something was missing or a void, and this most definitely filled that void. And so a few hours after I tried it for the first time, I said, "Well, where's that friend of mine that had the dope? I'm ready for a little bit more." And that started almost 7 years of heroin addiction, which brought me to my knees many times. Many attempts at stopping, but relapsing, going into hospitals and detoxes. We really didn't have drug treatment the way we have it today. Back in those days, in the early 60s, the only drug treatment that existed was in 2 federal hospitals that were actually connected or part of federal prisons. One in Lexington, Kentucky, which became a rather famous institution, and another federal drug treatment program in Fort Worth, Texas. So I paid a visit to that fine establishment, and being that I signed myself in, after 2 days I signed myself right out, and came back to New York, became addicted again, doing crime. I was arrested over those years of my active addiction at least a half a dozen times, and now I was getting into my late 20s, and it was I was becoming fairly hopeless that I could change after so many attempts to kick the habit and relapsing. I was looking at some prison time because of those arrests, and I decided to leave the country, and went to England, which at that time had a system whereby a physician could prescribe heroin for an addict, and you basically got your drugs, your syringe, legally. I thought that I could manage, but that also became out of hand for me, and I was trying to obtain more drugs when I was arrested, and ultimately deported back here to New York. But it was an interesting experience in England because I had what I thought was the junkie's dream. I had my drugs, and I still didn't manage it very well. But when I came back to New York, I was again given the opportunity to get into a program, and I went into Odyssey House when it was in its first early stages. And when I was in that therapeutic community, I met other people like myself who were striving to make a better life for themselves, and I bought into it. I saw a future for myself, and while I was not motivated when I first went into the program, once I was there, I said, I'm going to stick with this and do something different with my life. The idea of being with people like myself as part of a small community who were helping one another, providing for all the needs that exist in a commune, and to have the opportunities to talk about my feelings, to talk about my experiences, my dreams in these groups that we had. I thought